JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a Japanese manga series written by a man who is too fascinated with Western culture for his own good. This multi-generational series has been in production as a manga for over 30 years, with no signs of slowing down. And as a manga with a very unique style, to say the least, some productions have had trouble adapting it to the TV screen. Prior to 2012, 3 attempts were made by the same animation studio, APPP. While charming in their own right, none of them managed to make a splash to a domestic audience, let alone an international one. This led to a theatrical release of the actual starting point of the series being lost forever, and a very active group of people still look for it to this day. So why did these adaptations fail?
Why are you gay?
While it was animated well, it just didn't bring the same flair that reading the manga did. All this would change in 2012, of course. Enter David Productions, a new and fresh studio established in 2007 by Koji Kajita, a former president and producer of Gonzo. Gonzo was a group formed by Gainax, the studio everyone knows for their ability to merchandise Neon Genesis Evangelion. This studio is a little up and coming and filled to the brim with fans of the series, so they partner with Shueisha and Warner Brothers Japan to bring JoJo to the small screen in all of its glory.
I hate this channel.
No! No! And the product they provided was exceptional. A series like this, with enough strange and bizarre charm, would spawn tens of thousands of memes just by existing. If you've been on the internet at all, you've seen a JoJo meme, and these guys are primarily responsible for why that is. While King David was able to create a series that could withstand the test of time better than previous iterations, it wasn't without its drawbacks. Time is money, and animation isn't cheap. So to keep the quality of the series high, long breaks between each part, or seasons, was something that was very common. These breaks would usually coincide with the next year's anime season, and this continued for the first 5 seasons of the series. JoJo really didn't hit the mainstream until the release of its 5th part, Golden Wind, and its adaptation in the fall of 2018. JoJo's always had a presence through its memes and obscure references that people would constantly point out, but the cadre of flamboyant Italian mobsters would change that forever. Everyone was talking about JoJo when the 5th season of the anime concluded in the summer of 2019, with the hype for the series at an all-time high. A legion of newly formed JoJo fans were ready to go into the drought with memes, Roblox, and merchandise to feed their appetite for more content, instead of just reading the literal decades of more content. Regardless, we were expecting a similar break that the previous seasons had, approximately 9 to 12 months. What we weren't expecting was the biblical dry spell that soon had taken place. A year passed with no news. More months went by and still nothing.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Finally, in October of 2020, David Productions strikes a rock twice, and water is given to us. The JoJo Portal website is formed.
Most test subjects do experience some cognitive deterioration after a few months in suspension. Now, you've been under for quite a lot longer, and it's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage.
The drought was over. An oasis of JoJo content presented itself. The site had been used to congregate and distribute information about the series, and there was an event to be announced. April 4th, 2021. Sir, throw more coal on the fire of the hype train. The Joestar Inherited Soul event. Yes! A live event featuring the voice actors of every single season's main character, primarily featuring the Onos. Seems like we should have taken the warning signs a little more seriously at the time.
Oh no!
With the weekly Joestar radio featuring prominent cast members to continue building up the hype for this event, it seemed like there was nothing the series could do wrong. Now, to access the event, all you needed to do was pay 4,400 yen to attend this event live on StageCrowd Live.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
And that's what I and many others did. We were not deterred by the late night here in America. And then, the day approaches. April 4th, 2021. 5 very dashingly dressed men gather on stage to perform for a huge crowd, except no one was there because of COVID. Well, At least they're live streaming the event, which begins at 4 p.m. Japan Standard Time, roughly equating to the middle of the night for a Western audience here in America. Also, there was a set script for the event, and they wouldn't be taking any live questions from the chat, so one might ask themselves, if there was going to be no live audience, why not just pre-record the entire event? Well, the reason being, the Japanese performance ethics insist the authenticity of the event demands that it be done live. Well, do it live! Otherwise, it would be very dishonorable. So the fans' excitement would soon turn to ambivalence as the live-generated subtitles were turned on. When this event was advertised, we were promised that this live event would be translated from Japanese. Now, here's a little history. In 2007, the Japanese Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication required that all non-live TV programs include closed captioning, and the rules were extended to live programming in 2017. Traditionally, real-time captioners use stenotype machines with phonetic keyboards and special software. A computer translates the phonetic symbols into captions instantaneously, but there's usually some delay as the processing is done. The question then becomes, was this done by a person? Possible, but consider a typical Japanese stenographic keyboard takes 6 highly skilled operators to determine the difference in the great number of homonyms present in kanji. What I think was more plausible is that Shueisha and Warner Brothers were using an alternative system, some speech recognition software, that would allow the stream to continue, but at the cost of some accuracy, similar to the auto-generated subtitles on YouTube. But these results were far beyond what I'm sure everyone, including the event hosts, were expecting. Viewers of the stream were greeted by a flurry of incomprehensible babble, the best of which I would like to share with you now. Oh no, this is a great event, daughter. I'm done, Nick Stoner. I play the role of a just get okay, then Mr. Can show all. Oh yes, Giorno Giovanna has dreams. Useless. I'm the Surge. So Hummel are the Ripper is touched, and its effect is felt. Cheered up so we can use Hermoso, Mississippi. How long nipples, oh heart, and burning heat. JoJo's is so cheap. It is so event, yes, you came, at the surprise event that spoke Kishibe Rohan first. And so pathetically, Oklahoma is the hole we are now in. I can't even say it seriously. Hear history from data that Phantom Blitz through the Golden Mint. JoJo lovers will attract to JoJo lovers, so we'll keep multiplying. Genesis 1:28, be fertile and multiply. I was told I'm so kitchen, and somebody else, can you show some typo check? Nobody typo check. Well, gentlemen, don't do that. Don't steal food from the next room. I have been involved with this Toys R series longest, so on behalf of all the characters, I actually believe they went back to the stenographic keyboard because at about the hour mark, you can see the subtitles being corrected in real time, and the phrases are getting slightly more accurate, but they start to have a few typos. With the event chugging along, regardless of it being incomprehensible to the vast majority of the international audience, the featured guests were introduced by the host, Chiaki the Gamer Girl, who led a discussion about the production history. They covered only the most important topics, like the number of double consonant characters in the script. That was 9,979 times. Very important stuff indeed. This bloviating experience went on so long that the attention began towards other topics, like the fact that people were actively pirating the event on Twitch for the hoi polloi who were smart enough not to cough up $40. Anthem was a game that fell off a cliff shortly after its release, but over 29,000 viewers on Twitch briefly revived it to stream the event, making it the most notable thing that ever happened in Anthem's history, no cap. Plenty of people were sharing live streams across Discord, leading to the official Twitter account to politely ask people not to do that. They did anyways. About an hour and a half into the event, there was some discussion about the most popular moments of each character, and even the fans got to vote on having their voice actors dub them live, which could be another reason they didn't want to pre-record this event. While the people in Japan were happily enjoying a man yell about a rock in his salad, we here in the West were patiently waiting for some news, any news about the animation production returning. Over 3 hours into this event, and we finally got some news that we were waiting for. JoJo's 6th part, Stone Ocean, was finally confirmed, with this lady crying over a blank book, and a man named Tommy came out at the very end to scream at us. By this point, it was already ruined. Exhausted and disappointed by the amount of hype that was built up, we all went to bed, disappointed in ourselves for wasting money on something that was not the biggest event in JoJo history. A 3-hour, 41-minute nightmare was finally over. Until the morning when the hype for Stone Ocean came back and everything was happy, right? Right? Well, you see, this mess was an unmitigated disaster, and it debatably brought the beginning of the end for JoJo's decline in the popular culture. But before we get into that, the one question I want to know is how much money was wasted by the collective fan base? How many people actually paid for this event? Now, finding the exact number of people who watched a single live stream from over 2 years ago that didn't publicly display its viewership is a little tricky, but here's what I found. StageCrowd Live, the site that hosted the event, is a subsidiary of Sony Music. To see the actual amount of people visiting the site on a single day, most of which would be paying for the event itself, an individual would need an API module to get access to a console or query and some activation key. And through my deep research, and mind you, this is an estimation though I could be completely off, which that hasn't been the first time it's happened. This event nearly pulled in 17,000 paid viewers internationally, meaning Warner Bros., Shueisha, and David Productions raked in nearly $700,000 just to announce Part 6 to fans and give us one PNG. I think the ramifications for this initial blunder were not seen at the time. We thought it couldn't get any worse. There would be months of no news, an uneven batch release schedule that would utterly kill the hype, a lackluster and stilted animation style that was not corrected in the Blu-ray edition. The Blu-ray editions even had characters' names misspelled. It's like they didn't care at all. All in all, the lesson I take away from this entire experience was that corporations will take advantage of their audience if they think they can squeeze them just a little more. But the funny thing is, I don't necessarily blame them for doing it. Think about it from their perspective. JoJo's has been out for how many years? And how much of it have you and I consumed without paying for it? The same is happening for millions of people worldwide enjoying this series. And yet, we keep expecting them to turn out more and more great products when in all likelihood, a sizable bulk of their revenue is being pulled in by the merch. I know I've certainly contributed to it. That's why you should always support the official release, so that companies don't feel the need like they have to squeeze money out of you. I've bought almost all of the JoJo manga for this very reason. This is more of a broader point on the pirating culture that's associated with manga and anime, and I know it's a complex topic with good arguments on both sides. There are valid arguments for why you should be pirating something, but don't expect the pirating just to be going one way forever. So that was the video. I know some of you might disagree with my rationalization of the reason why they scammed us, and if you do, you can leave those thoughts in the comments below. I know I've been off the channel for a while. I've had a lot of stuff going on in the background in my personal life. Maybe I'll talk about it here or on the other channel, but as I'm developing my adult career, sometimes these projects will just have to go on the back burner. I hope you understand, and if you do understand, I will see you in the next video. Have a beautiful doing, and I'll see you all next time.